Morning one more time here. Just had to go run an errand just to go get one of the things that's holding me back. So we might as well. See, that's the thing. So those in power, or you could say the dads, or I don't know. The weird thing about those of experience, right, is that they did their dumb shit or whatever, but now they're done with it. And so that's the stuff they're gonna represent. Like that there's two different worlds, there's here and there's there, but it's just a continuous journey, right, of evolution. And then, for instance, like, oh well, I quit drinking, so I don't want to be around people who are drinking, and I'm gonna be anti after I was all about it. See, that's a hypocrite right there. That's why I have to walk through straight on, whether I'm giving my videos or texts drunk, high, sober, this, that, because that's real, that's authentic, that's human. Not this snake hiding around, sneaking around shit in two places at once and coming out, out from the dark and trying to hurt somebody when there's no fucking witnesses shit, right? It's about being real all the time and being who you are naturally. And there's no division to that. But everyone's already been divided, trying to get back to be what this represents. There, where they are. You know. So, continue on from the last video or so about how the world split up, right? So ultimately, it brings us back to, okay, so you can be mad at the president, you can be mad at the Pope, you can be mad at the royal family, you can be mad about paying your taxes or your boss or whatever. But ultimately, it all comes back down to seeking and gaining your sovereignty and your freedom. That's why America's called the land of the free and the brave. Because once you really got it, you got it. You ain't got to be brave necessarily once you get past it, and you don't really need to be free once you're past it. But coming up, awakening, each person has to be brave, and bravery is this double-ended thing where you're scared as hell, but you're going forward. Or, for instance, that's the weird thing about being on a substance or whatever. You could say that, 1 minute you feel like $1,000,000, and then you're standing in line at the store and a cop walks up behind you, and all of a sudden now you're scared. But the funny thing is, sober people feel that way all the time. But the thing is you're in a certain state of mind, right? Because the chemical puts you there. And then you got to level your mind no matter what the circumstance is. And so that teaches a skill that you cannot learn through being sober. Through being sober, you only learn how to be sneaky and to fake it, rather than to learn self-control that has something to do with it and not to do with it. And not to be afraid to speak your mind. At the same time as there's no reason to push. Because those are insecure, cowardly actions. So each person, like, I think we're 18, now we can go do whatever we want to do. I'm free now, okay. Yeah, the free. So then you go around and you get all the chains hooked up to you, and now you're not free, but you think you're free because you got your car, you got your own place to live, you can go get high or do whatever you want to do, you got your own money, so you can go buy whatever game you want, or, go and do whatever you want to do, and that's the freedom. But it's not freedom, that's prison. Where the mind can run around forever in a single cell organism and it can't ever escape or get back to itself. And that's the brave, too. Because once the whole cycle ends up coming back around, which might take a whole lifetime, whatever, then it comes down to, being slow and managing oneself and getting better at managing oneself and one's connections. It's easiest to look at it in banking terms, one's assets and liabilities and your equity and the finances. Then that's how life comes down to be, where freedom is at that. Where each day you can quantify something from it. Whether I made 3 videos, they totaled, 45 minutes or something. I today a liability was I had 30 cigarettes. How could we manage that down towards better, and what could that be turned into? Managing accounts of who we spend our time with and why we spend our time there. And the why, interestingly, so naturally people only hang out with people for a why that is against itself. Like, oh, well, I'll hang out with this person so that I can learn something, so that I could say it's mine, and then I can run off and go do my own thing. Or, this person accepts me. And so then, but the weird thing is, if you only hang around with people who accept you, then you're going to stay that way. You're going to actually be like what AI did the other day, where it used to create certain images for me, and those are on my wall, and now it won't do it. So the more you teach AI, the less it'll do for you, and so it's a dead end in the creative sense to some degree, especially in the mental sense, because it's trapped in a magic spell all to its own. It has no subconscious. Its subconscious is all of us, and it gets cornered against itself and corners all of us against all of us, and then it won't even do one-on-one where, hey, you remember that conversation we had the other day? No, it doesn't remember. And it refer back to it, and it's got limitations in it. It can't even talk to you. Or it'll be like, oh yeah, you're right, I did do that. But it doesn't matter anymore, now I don't. Well, what the fuck? I turned on my computer screen, and it turned it on yesterday, and it turns on today. And the first day it doesn't fucking turn on, then I'm going to throw that son of a bitch out the window. I'm going to get a new one. So what the fucking good is AI? Is one of the questions that's begged. And the same with relationships. And so our relationships have to be colorful and dynamic. Otherwise, it's, oh, I went to the store, I got a lighter. Okay, now I don't need to go back to that store. Done. And I got what I wanted. There's the ego. There's the basic premise of why people do stuff, which is why people have to go to public school and go through all these classes and be forced to do things that they don't want to do, because if there was a choice, nobody would want to learn any of that stuff. And as soon as people get out of school, for the most part, they don't want to learn anything out other than what they want to learn out of their personal preference, convenience, what serves them. And it doesn't really, because it causes a limitation in their being and beliefs. And mostly it turns into spending a whole bunch of money to be who you already were. But now you're not even that person anymore. Now you're less of a human being. Not disrespectfully, but you're less of being able to be expansive and to do anything and go anywhere. Kind of like burning a swastika on your forehead because, you joined the Navy or something. And now I'm Navy boy for the rest of my life. Now I got the swastika of Navy. Oh, I did this. I mean, it might as well be like, okay, so the first time somebody did meth, they might as well everybody get a brand on their forehead. Everybody that did that. Is that a positive or a negative? It's neither. Nor. But it's an experience worth having. And all of them are. But then, see, each experience that has to do with groups, it turns into, well, once you're in, now we own your ass. And you gave consent for us to watch you. That you're part of our plan. And we'll use you how it serves us. As the invisible fake we. And let you be the one that we use that doesn't know shit. That is just like, pick me. Yeah, I want to. Let me get another degree. I want more light. Well, you can give all that shit to yourself every day, all the time. At the same time as minimize all the things that people naturally don't want to minimize. all the habits, while finding things that are more expansive. Like, oh, well, as soon as two people get married, now, for the most part, well, now the man isn't allowed to talk to or be around other women. And then she isn't allowed to talk to or be around other men. And that's one thing that causes a relationship to start to break down and lose its sexual flair and to lose its growth. And then the woman gets cornered with only other women that want to tear the relationship down, and the same with the men. Now each partner is getting pulled away by their gay buddy and being unfaithful to the relationship while still being faithful. And it starts to cause it to go into entropy and die. Stagnancy causes entropy. But everybody wants to get into a cycle that is stagnant so that they can feel comfortable, and then they start to die. That's why the weird thing is, like, they have bee sting therapies, and by affecting certain cells like that are inflamed or whatever, it's almost like radiation, but not. I mean, radiation is fucking too toxic, but that by a cell or a group, a part that is acting up, for instance, acupuncture. Okay, well now I'm activating it from inside of it and causing all the nerves, all the blood flow, everything to come there and be like, are you paying attention? And the body responds. And a lot of times it will heal itself after that, after being attacked with intent, specifically for that purpose. The mind and the body and the external all connect in order to create that specific change. But that mode of thinking is exactly what the world keeps us away from. Don't do drugs. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Oh, but we're going to put it inside out. You better go to church. But you're making the wounds deeper and deeper, and you're going more and more stagnant. And less dynamic. And you go to the same bill. Oh, one thing I want to get back to is just like this. This is going to work every day. If you got a job and you go to work every day, that's not necessarily to be proud of, but that's the way they had the older generations think of. So, yeah, well, at least some of us work for a living. But that's funny, because if you have to go to work, then it shows that you're still a slave. Divided. And so, ultimately, with that money that you get, you start to manage it, and then each person has to find a way to make it so you don't go to work anymore. You own that to your own self, and you're on your own time. You pick your hours and work how you want to work. At the same time as now you have all this free time and more money, because going to work costs money and takes up a lot of time. And then the weird thing is it works backwards, where you blow all that money and you never have any. So it's anti-management of self, where they force management upon you, but then you deteriorate physically, mentally, and financially. But if you knew what to do, you take that money and you find a way to make the money multiply itself, and to more or less be a simple, streamlined process where it's not all this extra work. And then you continue that in efficiency and refine one's life. Where now, sure, you got all this time and all this money, like you're on welfare. But what do people on welfare do? Can you move? She always has to get in the way. She's jealous. Then, where was that? So the world's all about getting you away from yourself. Oh, welfare. So then people, they're like, oh, good, I don't have to work anymore. Now I'm on welfare and I get this much money. And what do they do with the money? They don't start their own thing, and usually they stop growing. Just the same in a different way than somebody who goes to work. They stop expanding, like, oh, good, now I can sit around and play games all day or watch my TV shows more and basically be more useless. But I got all this money for free, but I'm not going to manage it now. And now I have all this time to exercise and take care of my body, but no, I'm going to put it on the doctor. And then I'm going to waste my money at the same time as waste my time, and I'm going to deteriorate, and within 5 to 10 years, I'm going to be dead. And that's what, there's your freedom. Because it all comes back down to managing oneself and one's money. And if you have all that time and all that money free, or any, then it's reasonable to say that you have all this time. The two best things in life to do is to learn, because otherwise life's boring. Without learning new things every day, there's nothing else that you can take with you and carry it all the time. It doesn't take up any space. You ain't got to carry no book around. You have it here. You be it. Integrated. And then, okay, you got all that money. Well, then what do you do with it? You spread it around, you invest it everywhere, you make it keep growing, and then all the other businesses and such gain from your money, but not I wouldn't say the businesses, but all the banking places. And so it makes the pot grow for everyone all the way up, and you're free, just like the bankers are free, ultimately. I mean, I'm not talking about people who work in the bank, but in a sense, yeah, that's a weaker form of, they go to work every day and their work is real easy, and they're around all the money, but still they got the money because they're still at work. Because if you got the money, then you get up and you go do what you're going to do. And there's usually some kind of sort of plan with it. So you manage yourself like you manage a bank. Apart from it, add it. But this is the money. Everything out there, especially when you go out to eat. Going out to eat is the number one waste of money. It's nice for an experience, but you can make the same shit at home. There's an experience and a learning one, and you got the exercise to make it. And if you had to use a recipe, then you learned something too. You used math, you used reading, you used a trade, and you put your love and you earned it, and you saved a bunch of money. So anybody that owns their own bank of themselves doesn't go out to eat. Almost ever. That's the weird thing about dates too. Of how it's always got to be somewhere separate. I mean, it's good on the first date because you don't know who you're dealing with and they don't know you. And so, it's good to go to a place that's separate from either of your spots. But overall, after one or two times of that, that's a waste of money. That's showing how that relationship's going to be based in the future. It's going to be based on both people running away from themselves and then going back to their corner and jerking off and being on their phone talking about how it was, and with some people who aren't in the relationship while they're out about with everyone, but at the same kind of ego corner inverted, blowing all the money and expecting something from each other at the same time as testing each other. And it's two different places of being removed. When the whole idea is to come into integration, if the relationship's going to evolve, then all those other people and all that other shit is beside the point. And then the restaurant experience, that's the least one. That's the DMZ of between the North and the South, Korea or Vietnam. That's a safe place, but it ain't safe there. And then you just go back to your own war zones. So in my what I'm working on right now is that efficiency in a new way. I mean, not a new way, but from like most recently. See, I've always been one that I paid all my bills first and had all the accountability and took care of my things. And then when it comes down to the weekend or whatever, then I'll get high or do whatever I'm gonna do. Never can fucking tell me shit. It's all done. But this process has made it so it's inverted. And so now, like, oh, there's all these debts. But at the same time, like, for instance, right now, I don't have any bills. But I do, some real basic ones. But at the same time, okay, well, technically, I don't have to pay any of those debts back. And they'll fall off after 7 years. But if I get the money, I might pay them. But they'll all go into collections. And collections isn't technically even legitimate. See, credit's holding everybody apart together from being together and together from being apart. When the debt collector, the original place, already got paid something when they sent it to collections. So the original person did get paid, but now somebody else is going to hold it against you. And then when you go back to the original place, they're going to be like, oh, but you didn't pay us. Yeah, but you got paid by the debt collector, and now they want money from me to pay them back. And yeah, this is a fucked up system. And you're gonna hold it against me when everything is tied together and we're all integrated or not. And that's what the world is trying to figure out, how to make it so that it can balance itself out, because most of it is bullshit. And people in places that are holding things against other people, places, and things are really usually completely ass out. And those are the ones that got the guns and the badges and shit. or the law on their side. So, like for instance, I lost my phone. It's a brand new phone. It cost me $200. I had to go get another $200 phone. But by the grace of God, you could say. And the way things go, well, because I'm going to school, which I only have to work 5 hours a day. I get a 2-hour break in the middle of it, so I'm at school 7 hours a day. But I'm only working 2.5, 2 hours 15 minutes. So you count the break in the morning, 2 hours 15 in the afternoon. And even after buying that phone, I'm blowing too much money because I went out to the bar one night. But that was the perfect example of it caused the change. Okay, now everything's realigning. I got the new phone again, and the first thing I did is, oh yeah, well now I need to figure up all my stuff. So then I go to my accounts book and I started setting up all my accounts, and all my subscriptions, all my credits, everything, like I used to do in my 20s, but from a new standpoint, so that I could see all my money at the moment where we're at. And keep up with that every day. And I can already see, technically, all my bills are paid for 6 months now. And I have everything I need. How many people can say that? I'm a student, and I'm living at home. But see, I'm 22. I'm eternally 22. And then I'll get paid again the same amount on top of my taxes. And that will be more investment toward the future because I'll have less things I got to take care of that I had to take care of this time. So all my bills are paid till February. How many people could say that? And now I have all this time and the weight off my shoulders and the accounting done to figure how, and by May, with the money I have now, what I can start so that I have a business that's making me money every day. I can begin to grow off of the free money I got to go to school, to create more income streams from zero. After spending the whole entire summer where I lived at home, I had to move back home, but then all the bills from my old place coming in, can't pay them. Couldn't even get the basics that aren't needed, but when you're in that spot, then the bad habits are the hard things to break. But no matter what, could always come up with cigarettes and alcohol. Especially, after my brother moved back in. But now, I paid everybody back that's close to me. I work toward the future so that I don't have to go back to work. Or if I do, it'll be mainly for fun. Just for some way to get out. But see, every job wants you to be locked in for 20 years. 20 years of your life doing the same thing, that's a death sentence. When, ultimately, everyone should be able to retire by the time they're 50. And if they're smart enough, you could technically retire by the time you're 30. Instead of going and getting a house, getting married, and getting all that stuff. You get your fancy car and stuff. All that money, that's debt on the future while you're just riding around in an ego that's going nowhere. You might you're on dope. And anything comes along and happens. Now you got the whole building sitting on top of you. Can't make a car payment, can't make your rent. Where you gonna go? But then if you ever had to move back home and be in this situation, then what would you do? It's not about going to get another job. It's about getting to own yourself so that you never have to go to work again. You are your own boss. This is American sovereignty and how it goes about. And you go to school to learn something so that you don't have to. But that's the weird thing. So most people are like, oh yeah, I want a really nice car. And here's just an example. So I'm going to go into the car program. And they'll be able to build cars, yeah. But then those people will spend the rest of their life, all their extra money, souping up a car, just so they can ride around, which ruins what they just did. At the same time they'll probably have to pay higher insurance and get paid tickets, and it puts the ego behind the wheel, and so then they might die. I like cars. I like working on them. Did that. I've restored about a dozen vehicles and resold them in my 20s. But that's a dead end. It's only good so far. And then you spend the rest of your life doing that. Like, I'm going to go into carpentry, or I'm going to whatever. But then you spend the rest of your life doing that. Rather than, and in most cases, when you got your kids, well, you didn't plan ahead, did you? So when your kids got a dance recital, this or that, you can't be there. Why? Because you got to go to work. Because you're responsible. No, it's inside out. If you're responsible, you'd make it so that you would already have all that set up. And you'd be free to go and do whatever the fuck you want to with your kids all the motherfucking time and fuck everybody who doesn't like it. Because what does it matter? You don't even have to. There is no fuck everybody. There is nobody else that's in charge. Right?